Good evening, everybody, and hello. Welcome along to your Monday night edition of the Suffolk Non-League Show. I am James. Here's Adam, and once again, we are live across Facebook, Twitter, and of course, YouTube for your Monday night entertainment. It is absolutely freezing cold out there. You don't need to be out there. Wrap yourselves up warm. Grab yourselves a beverage of some description. Come and sit down with myself and Adam, and let's chew the fat about Suffolk non-league football. Adam, how the hell are you, mate? You doing well?
What a week. What a week.
So it's always the same. It's always the same. It never, ever stays still. It's just mental.
Football's back. Football has come back. Despite it not looking quite how we thought it would last Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a week and a half. It really has. Yeah, from literally all the way from last Monday night, 47 minutes in, to like the match day experience we did Saturday, which was an absolute belter. If you haven't seen it already, catch it after this. It's been brilliant. It's been so good getting back. And I've heard lots of little snippets from people that have gone to games and really enjoyed their first week back of seeing a bit of football, and some good stories of people mixing with friends again and just saying hello, and lots of banter flying and stuff. And I think we all needed it. Definitely think we all needed it. And it's good. It's really good. It's so good to be back. So
yeah, 100% agree with that. 100% agree. I can already see loads of you are watching the stream, and we've already got your good evening comments in the chat. I hope you are doing amazingly well, everyone. I'll bring your hellos up in a few moments. Just before we go any further, just a very quick word from our sponsors. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors on the Suffolk Non-League Show: Starting and Lock, Matchday Marketing, GBS, Your Shirts, and Clabber Creative. GBS are a family-run construction company in Ipswich operating nationwide with over 30 years experience, offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety, and asbestos removal. Starling and Lock, self-employed electrician in the Stowmarket and Suffolk area since 1989, offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses. An NIC/EIC member. Matchday Marketing, sports marketing and branding company, helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising over 20 plus years in the game. Your Shirts, eye-catching, professional-looking garments for your business, team, club or organisation, with a range of printing methods to cover all individual needs. Clabber Creative is a creative agency based in Framlingham, Suffolk, offering fully managed football club websites. They are about giving your club a professional image and the ongoing support to maintain it. Links for all of these companies will be in the description below. Go and check them out and tell them that DeeJam has sent you. Replace the dislike on there with the Matt Blake special. It had to be done. Had to be done.
All sorted.
Unbelievable. Just before we go any further, an absolutely massive thank you to everyone who has either watched, listened on podcast platforms to last week's show. It went absolutely crazy. We had, I think there's over 5,500 views across all platforms.
We're about 6,500.
What? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 6,500 all in. It's been absolutely crazy. Yeah. And not only that, our podcast, which we've sort of the whole show's available as a podcast to everyone. I know it's easier sometimes just to plug in or have it on in your car. You can search on Spotify or Apple Podcasts just for Suffolk Non-League Show. The actual listen duration for that just over last week alone went up 500%. So that's a bit wild for us, and I think hopefully you can all continue to enjoy it in that way a bit more, especially if you don't get to catch the whole show. Sometimes it's a bit longer than others.
Yeah, it's not always an option to be able to watch a show back, but with the fact that we have got the podcast and platform, thanks to sponsors, Ko-fi, Patreon members, etc., the platform is available now. So that if you want to, if you want to listen to it on the go, it is available. So just as said, as Adam said, search the Suffolk Non-League Show and you will find it there. Just a very quick thank you as well to all of our Ko-fi members. You'll be able to see their names up on the screen at the moment. Without these guys' continued support, without people donating on a one-off basis to the channel, we would not have been able to make the massive improvements that we have done. If you want to donate a one-off payment in there, I'm now putting the link for the Ko-fi page into the chat. Just go over to there, click on that. if you want to put any one-off payments. As I said, it just helps towards the running cost of the channel like these guys have here. And also a massive thank you as well to all of our Patreon members. Now, Patreon is a optional monthly service where you can start from as little as putting £1 a month towards the channel, like these guys have done on the screen here. There are certain tiers that you can select and go through. As you know, it's one of those things as well that you can cancel whenever you want, which is absolutely, you don't have to do like a year's worth, a minimum of anything like that. And again, putting a link for that in the chat. If you want to support the channel, the Ko-fi link and the Patreon ones are now in the chat. It would be absolutely massively appreciated. Partner clubs, Adam, very quickly before we get everybody's hello messages up onto the screen.
Yeah, all it takes is a retweet of the show link. I'll stick it in a group chat, and loads of these clubs do that for us, and it helps our sort of marketing as such, really. But in return, we offer the ability just to any shout outs, anything that you want that's going on at your club. We'll also broadcast that as well. And so there's some good bits of news and some bits that we can pick up and really highlight. One of the key ones this week, Walsham the Willows have been in touch with me. They're playing Ely at the weekend at home. There's no bar open, but they're doing a pay what you want to get in. Like,
nice.
Big hats off for that. And I'd encourage as many of you to get down to Walsham as you can. It'll be a good game as well. Walsham and Ely both going well this year. So pay what you want, enjoy the game.
Definitely. So yeah, massive thank you to all of those guys. Again, if you want to be a partner club on there, just contact Adam over on Twitter. Let's get your messages up on the screen because they've been absolutely flying in since we started. Shem is in the building. Evening, gents. Hope you're well. Yes, we are, mate. We're doing really well. Follow the trawler. How do, boys? Elite Ipswich. Love Monday nights just for this show. Love that. Absolutely love that. Bucks is in the building. Good evening, mate. Hope you're doing well. Matchday Marketing, of course, one of our sponsors. Evening, gents. Hope you're doing all right, mate. Sean is in the building. Evening, Tony Stone. Good evening, gentlemen. Great to see you both on Saturday. It was good to see you as well. A little bit of normality, just having a conversation with you, Tony, about Suffolk football. It was just nice just to, just have a bit of a catch up. Connor Banks, obviously, creator of Clabber Creative, is in the building. Evening, gents. Hope you're doing well, Connor. Hope you're all right. Dan Barnard, evening, guys. Thank you for coming down to Claydon Saturday. Great content as always. Thank you very much, Dan. We really appreciate that comment. Again, if you haven't seen the highlights of the game, absolutely incredible. You could not tell that both teams have had a month off doing nothing. They both
roller coaster, wasn't it? Absolute roller coaster.
They both played the game at such a pace. It was such a good game to come back to. Addy Ellis is in the building. Evening, fellas. Hope you're doing well. Michael Crowfer's here. Good evening, mate. James Denny. Evening, gents. Long time no speak. Great work and content. Thank you very much, James. Nice to appreciate a comment. Sean Watson. Evening, guys. Evening, mate. By the sounds of things, you enjoyed your matchup as well this weekend. Obviously, no game for Cranes, but you went along to the Tattingstone Wickham Market game, which we'll talk about more towards the end of the show. Pony Kosovo, that's the one. Who is that? I recognise that name from Twitter. Who is that?
He's at Stowe, and it's Pony at Stowe. I just know him as Pony at Stowe. He does the announcement.
Right. Fair enough.
He's the man on the mic with the Josh Mayhew.
Right, there you go. Follow the trawler. A cue for you at some point during the show. What chance do you give Felixstowe away to Leatherhead tomorrow? Do you think they can keep this great run in the trophy going?
We've got a great point in the show where this could go.
We have a very good point. We'll bring that up later on. Thank you very much for the question. Note, Vinny Ford, evening, mate. Jamie Sandlands is in the building. Evening, mate. Matching baseball caps next week, please, boys. Well, if somebody wants to send us some matching hats for us to wear, feel free. Get in contact with us on DMs on Twitter, and we'll see what we can try and sort out. Ben's in the building. Evening, both. High expectations after last week. No, don't put expectations on us. Don't put expectations. That was a hell of a performance last week. Unless somebody's got the Baileys on. After Adam's disappeared just when I'm talking about high standards. And then Adam disappears. Let's bring him out. Is he? Where are you going, Adam?
Upstairs, Finley.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm going to drop you out, mate. I'm going to drop you out. Whereabouts are we? So we've got Stuart, evening, mate. Hope you're doing well. Alex, missing you guys. We're missing you as well, mate. Psychic for Sports, evening, evening all. Maverick UK. Alex is in the building as well. Dean Cooper, Connor Ellis, Guy Habin, evening, fellows. Ian Moyes, a Stowtown announcer. That's only remembers half of my name. Yes, yeah, of course it is. I swear I recognise it. Yeah, I do recognise the name on there as well. But yeah, so Adam will be back in a few moments. Just having a few child issues upstairs, but we'll come back to that in a few moments. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to talk about the fixtures that have happened over the weekend. We're going to talk more about the results that have come that have been and gone this weekend. But we've obviously had a lot of statements from other leagues that have been talking about the fact that some have decided, well, if you want to play, you can. We'll give you the option. If you don't want to play, that's entirely up to you. And we've had the decision from the higher leagues, particularly Step 3 and Step 4, where they have completely taken the decision away from certain clubs. They gave everybody a vote, and an overwhelming majority in the leagues decided that they didn't want to play during December. So as a result, despite the fact that if you did vote yes, you're not given an option to be able to play on with your games. So a lot of teams in Step 3 and Step 4 who decided that they wanted to continue playing, they haven't got that option. So that isn't available to them. So we've decided to bring on a couple of guests today. We've got one in the building. We're hopeful that the second one will be with us at some point during the evening. But if not, we'll continue the conversation regardless. But what I'm going to do is introduce our guests now to the chat whilst I wait for Adam to return. It is none other than Felix Stowe, Gaffer, Stuart Borley. Stuart, how you doing, mate? You well?
Hi, Adam. You all right? James in. Good start.
Absolutely superb start. How are you, mate? Anyway, how you doing?
Yeah, very well. Obviously, be better if we had football on the horizon, but yeah, it's okay.
Because I mean, obviously, you were one of the clubs, and we'll get into it in a bit of detail in a moment, that wanted to continue playing. So, having seen the league statement, I'll tell you what. Let's read the statement out before we get into that. Let me bring that statement up on here. So this is from the leagues. This is for Step 3 and for Step 4. So there were 224 clubs voting across the 3 leagues. And of these, 172 agreed with the proposition to continue the pause in fixtures. 51 disagreed, and there was 1 abstaining. Broken down by league, 57 clubs in the Northern Premier League voted to agree, with 4 disagreeing. 68 clubs in the Southern League agreed, with 14 disagreeing, and in the Isthmian League, which was much closer, 47 clubs agreeing, 33 disagreeing. So obviously, this is where you guys come into the equation in terms of deciding that you wanted to continue with the season. The agree vote was therefore 76%, and it has been agreed that the 3 leagues will not sanction fixtures at this time. It is intended that the situation is kept under review in line with the government review on a tier allocation, and accordingly, the next review is set for the 16th of December, and then the 30th of December. It is the hope of all leagues that a date in January can be set for a return to fixtures, with clubs who wish being allowed to play before that date, but this will not be until there is a change in tiers. So there's a lot to kind of digest within that statement. But from your part, how do you? What was your first reaction when you saw that statement?
I don't think I was surprised, if I'm honest.
Right.
But I think the biggest problem we as a club had was that they've tried to nationalise it all, and quite clearly the virus is a very localised problem at the moment, and the government recognise that by the various tiers in various areas. However, for some reason beyond my IQ, I guess, the league have decided to take a national approach to it and have a broad brush across the country, and we just feel that for instance, the Isthmian North, every single club is in Tier 2. So I would imagine, without knowing the numbers, because the league won't provide those, by the way, I would imagine that the vast majority of them would want to play games.
Have you guys asked for that then, for the listing of who?
Yeah, as a club, we've requested it, and nothing's been forthcoming at the moment.
Right.
Clearly it shouldn't be too hard to count 20 clubs, but clearly it is. So, but I think that was the biggest disappointment across the whole thing. I didn't attend the Zoom meeting myself, but a member of the club did, the club chairman, right. And there seemed to be no clear guidance they wanted to give. Like they said, they would go with the vast majority. But clubs, not just us, but other clubs asked what that vast majority was. They weren't prepared to disclose that either, even to the clubs that were voting. So
seems a bit strange, doesn't it?
It just seemed a very, very, very strange vote, and equally that even the vote wording was all around, we're not going to start, and you had to disagree if you wanted to play football. I thought that was what we were all here to do, but.
I don't know if the chat will agree with this, but I would have thought the common sense approach would be to let the teams that want to play, where in the same league, arrange the fixtures and allow them to play. Because with weather being against us, we saw that this weekend across the leagues. Like, there's going to be other times where we can't play. So if some teams are prepared to play, surely we could have. Is it easy enough to make those sort of accommodations and bend things around so that you could have carried on in some way, even if it wasn't everyone that wanted to?
Yeah, it'd have been really easy to do that. All of the secretaries at all the clubs at our level are in regular contact with each other and have to do a majority of that anyway. Rearranging fixtures, it's down to the clubs to do that when there is postponement. So it would have been, in our eyes, very simple. And I think if the league had have really wanted to play on, then there would have been ways to do that, but we just feel there was no intention right from the very get-go to play football.
I think I'm probably right in saying as well, there's definitely a hunger at a lot of clubs to get the season going again, and that wouldn't have been an inconvenience to make those arrangements either for those clubs.
No, not at all. If you can, if you're involved in a football club, you understand how much hard work has gone in behind the scenes to get these clubs and football clubs ready for kind of COVID situations, if you like. And arranging a few fixtures would have been a small fry in comparison to the amount of effort that's gone into get clubs COVID ready.
Yeah. Stephen has made a point in the comments down there, James, which I think sums up a lot of people's frustrations in just a few words. Literally, just play football. Like, if we can, just play football.
You say that though, and I'm going to bring up Follow the Trawler's point on here. He got the, he said about the numbers on here, 75%, but 75% majority. That's quite a high number. But do you think that is based on? Because obviously, in our area where things are a lot closer, it was very close. It was nearly 50-50, wasn't it? So I suppose maybe in the more northern side of things, they are a bit reluctant to kind of open things up, obviously depending on whereabouts they are, etc. But for our area, it was relative. Well, I say relatively close. There was still a high number that wanted to continue, weren't there?
Yes and no. I think the Isthmian League was closer than all of the other leagues. However, like I say, it wasn't done on division. So the Isthmian League is Isthmian South as well. So that's clubs down in Kent and various areas that are in Tier 3. And don't get me wrong, I can totally see why they wouldn't want to play, because without fans and paying fans coming into football clubs, there's no way they can survive. And we couldn't as a club, which is why they've got to look at the problem from an individual point of view, because equally, if that scale tips over to 51% the other way, for example, are they going to make all of the other 49% of clubs that are in Tier 3, they're going to make them play without fans?
Yeah.
That would be totally unrealistic for them. And those clubs will fold.
In all your time in football, have you ever known some sort of voted decision to be as contentious as what this is? Because this is causing so much uproar. I can never remember a time when I've been following football when there's been any kind of vote on a decision or anything. This almost feels more contentious than the points per game stuff last season, if I'm honest.
God, don't bring that up again.
No, I'm not bringing it up. I almost feel like the decision to play is causing more of a hassle than that did.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Because it kind of goes. I mean, I wanted to bring up this statement that we mentioned about this statement last week. This was from the Furlough Num, where they were saying, look, if you don't want to play, that's absolutely fine. If you don't want to play for the reasons that you're given, then we'll go with that. But for the clubs who do want to play, then we will support you and we'll get your fixtures arranged, etc. So from your perspective, like, what was there any sort of conversation about that option being played out? Was there any, from the league's perspective, did they give you that option? Because as I said, there are a lot, not the overall majority, but there are still a lot of clubs that wanted to continue.
Yeah, we got nothing at all from the league.
Right.
We got invited to a Zoom meeting. We got told there would be a vote. We weren't allowed to know what that vote question was until we got to the Zoom meeting. Each club, as I understand it, had a couple of minutes to sort of air their opinion. And most clubs were shot down in either way. Nothing was really listened to by the league. And at the end of the day, they issued their kind of preemptive vote question that they'd come up with a few days earlier, and you just had to vote on it. There was no consultation with any clubs. If there was, then it certainly wasn't with Felixstowe or Bury or Sudbury or any of our local Suffolk clubs. Whether there was consultation with other clubs that are perhaps have greater links with the league, I don't know. But we were just given a vote, and there you go, get on with it, kind of thing. And I think that the biggest problem we have, as I've said before, is you're going to have if they try and restart it in January now and enforce those that don't want to play without fans to play, then that's going to be an even greater problem that they've currently got.
Yeah, I mean, Dean's comment here, I'm going to bring it up on here. Another 4 or 5 weeks without games, then we get the weather in January, February being shocking, and games called off for bad pitches, waterlog, etc. The season is never going to finish. I mean, in terms of a finish, I know it's a long way away still, but how much longer do you think we can continue going without playing before a decision is going to have to be made?
It can't be very long at all. I mean, we're already, I think I've seen something that they're applying to the FA to try and extend it possibly as far as June. And then you're getting into something that a lot of clubs don't want. And that's kind of one affecting this season, but also affecting another season as well. And it will run into kind of affecting last season, this season, and next season if we're not really careful, for a problem that's kind of lasted a year, or potentially going to last a year. So that's the worrying thing. And another worrying thing for me is some of those clubs who voted not to play had a friendly on Saturday. Well,
do you know, I was going to mention this as well, because the league, just going through their Twitter alone, is so heavy on promoting those fixtures. They're very quick to retweet a club who's got a friendly going out. That for me, in my mind, I don't get that. You're either for no fixtures at all. If that you did that, not me.
I think you are in or you're out. I agree.
Surely that's got to be the way, isn't it? If you're putting this vote where you're saying, right, do you want to play or do you not want to play? Right, okay. Well, the overwhelming majority of you have said no, you don't want to play. You can't have fixtures then. Or am I just being really thick?
Maybe you could suggest the clubs that are doing that don't have to pay their players for friendlies, perhaps. Because that's ultimately what it boils down to, is money, isn't it? And you can't carry on without fans, because you need fans to be able to pay players. And those clubs have, maybe they got other sources of income. Maybe they got 4Gs and various things like that they can rent out on a Saturday, and they've put their players on furlough and are still playing them in friendlies. I'm not sure how that works, but it's a real grey area, and that's probably the most disappointing thing, is to hear, lots and lots of clubs have gone against playing because of, and said because it's health and safety and we value the health of our supporters, but are then more than willing to play friendlies where, of course, COVID doesn't come.
Do you think that this spell of extended time away from football and stuff, no income coming into the club, it's undoubtedly going to affect club budgets and stuff going into next season as well, as maybe even this season as well? So is there going to be a longer term effect just from losing extra games now?
Yeah, there's going to be a huge long-term effect, I would say, because you've got there's 101 things we can talk about, but furlough, it's a great scheme and a real godsend to the clubs. But the latest furlough scheme, it's still costing the clubs money because they have to pay the NI and pension and tax and all those kinds of things.
Right.
So there's a cost to the club even at the moment when players are on furlough. You've got season ticket holders. Are they going to ask for their money back because they're not getting the games? You've got sponsors. Are they going to ask for money back because they've paid up front and aren't going to get the exposure, aren't going to be able to bring clients to games and have that kind of hospitality experience? There's lots and lots of things that have got to be considered, and that's without the bigger, wider world and businesses not doing as well as they were potentially last year, and therefore I think sponsorship will be down in general. So I think it's going to be a huge effect.
Those questions, do you think they actually bring into question potentially the survival of some clubs that do run a bit more hand to mouth as such and really have a lot more narrow income streams? Like, I know sort of Felix are quite lucky in terms of the fact that you've got the facility there and everything, but some clubs don't have as much in the way of facilities, maybe paying high rent to places and stuff. Do you think that the potential for season ticket money to go away or sponsors to begin asking for money back, that money just simply won't exist and the club would have to collapse?
I think there will be several. There's we all know the Cranes kind of scenario that happened the other day. I think that come the new year there'll be an awful lot of it, without a doubt, and there'll be budgets cut, and it'll be a real tough thing moving forward. As you say, we're relatively lucky at Felixstowe in comparison to a lot of other clubs, and I feel for a lot of other clubs, I really do. But each club kind of lives to their means a little bit. So yes, we're very lucky at Felixstowe, but equally, we've invested in playing squads and invested in funds for improving our pitch this year. We spent an awful lot of money on the pitch in the summer, and the pitch has had probably 7 or 8 games on it.
I'm gonna bring up Chris White's comment here because I just want to kind of touch upon it as well. Surely the travel distance for Vase and trophy matches, which are allowed to go ahead, is considerably further than localized league matches. Now, is your game tomorrow night? Is it going ahead still?
Yeah, it's going ahead away at Leatherhead. Yeah.
So you've got them in the FA Trophy. So you're having to gear yourself up for one game, and then potentially you've got now the rest of the month off, depending on the result of the fixture. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit
depending on the result. Yeah, it's crazy because players don't. We may well have to furlough players again as of Wednesday morning. We may have to keep them on. But equally, if we go through, yes, we get some prize money, which is a godsend. But we don't know whether to keep them on and keep them training, and because we won't. If we draw an away tie in the next round of the trophy, we've got no home games, so therefore no income from crowd and various things like that. That's a real quandary and a tough one to make decisions on, certainly.
Can you talk to us about preparations for tomorrow a bit? Difficult time to go straight into a cup game, like in terms of preparing. Haven't had a bit of league form behind you because you haven't been able to play. I know you had a friendly at the weekend. So what have you done to get yourselves ready for what is another monumental game in club history, having not progressed beyond that first stage previously.
Yeah, we've done as much as we can outside of here. We've done Zoom fitness calls. All the players have had fitness programs, but equally that it's only as good as the player doing it. You can't guarantee, you can't monitor it. They've worked, I think, extremely hard because we looked relatively fit on Saturday, but it affects things like we would normally go and watch Leatherhead, scout them, have an idea of how they play, as I'm sure they would with us. Clearly that hasn't been able to happen. So you go into games a little bit blind, and equally the injury side of things, I think, is also going to be a huge problem, even more so in the new year when we start back up again. And the league will no doubt expect people to play Saturday, Tuesday, and probably throw in some Thursdays as well. And you've seen in a professional game, with Ipswich Town being the closest example, that it's just even players that are conditioned to the level they are. It's a real problem.
I think there's a genuine risk that we could end up doing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday by the time the season's done if we choose to go on.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me in the slides, to be honest.
The teams that worry me are those that have to ground share. I don't understand how this season's even going to logically work.
Yeah,
and the pressures are huge on those because they're relying on two clubs for their income to keep those grounds going, and all of a sudden they're getting nothing. So those projections are shot to bits. I think there could be some real interesting logistical moves that need to be made. And one of the questions I've got is, you sign a player, and how do they prepare for that? I mean, you're no longer training if you end up doing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday. Even as a manager, you're suddenly probably finding yourself giving much more time to your craft than you probably were before, just because you're going to have so much more work on your plate. Does that bring additional pressure as well, do you think, if that's something we have to do?
Yeah, we'll do massively, and it's not just, it will be difficult for the players, it will be difficult for managers, but to be honest with you, we've got, football clubs at our level are run by volunteers, and just to get a ground ready, there's probably 7 or 8 volunteers there all day getting a ground ready for a game, even more so now that, we've got social distancing and all the various rules in place, and to get those grounds ready for what could potentially, if you get a bad run of home games for Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, would really, really draw on staff too much, and going to cause horrendous problems, I would imagine.
The potential pressure on the whole community that's linked to a club, you don't, until you start thinking of it, you don't realise how that stacks up. Like the whole volunteer situation, it sounds silly, but hadn't even crossed my mind in terms of how clubs are going to resource to be able
it's like what Dean said here, isn't it? If you lose the volunteers, half, we can become quite guilty. Even us here on the show, we focus a lot on what's going on the pitch. It's the people who do all of the stuff outside of it. It's the admin side. It's the fixtures. It's the getting people to the places. It's everyone who gets the ground and location secure in terms of the COVID side of things. It's the people who are there on the entrance, on the turnstiles, letting people in. It boils down to everyone, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? You lose them, and it doesn't matter who you've got on the pitch. If you haven't got the people doing the job on the outside, you can't play a game.
No, exactly.
It's been like quite broad strokes around the topic, like with yourself tonight. But there's so many different things that you've brought in that you suddenly realise how many people from a club it's going to take just to pull those bits together. From preparing for a game, like then if you were to get knocked out, to then sticking people back on furlough, like none of these things like run by themselves. Like the club has still got to be looked after, the pitch has still got to be looked after, but you might not have a game on it for weeks on end now.
Yeah, I just want to bring Dean's comment up because that kind of ties in quite nicely. He said we also have to take into account that players, managers, volunteers may lose interest in the game, and that will be a huge loss in the future. From your perspective, have you had to kind of have those conversations with people to let's keep going, or the club quite tight in that respect in terms of wanting to just keep things going, or have there been any points where people just like, oh, do you know what? I can't do this anymore. Has there been any of those kind of conversations where you've had to lift people a bit?
I think the club behind the scenes have been really, really good. as we've pointed out, there's a lot of volunteers and they do it because they love it and they can see an end point now with the vaccine and various things. So I think behind the scenes they've been really good. It's been tough. It's been tough on the players. I will say that. I'm not going to name names, but I've had one player want to retire that we've had to kind of coerce into carrying on. I've had a couple of players just say, "Oh, I just can't get up for it. I don't know if I want to play football anymore." That was towards the end of the first lockdown. It's been tough, and I think people probably don't realise how tough that's been. I think it's all the uncertainty of it. Pre-season, for example, was the hardest it's ever been because as a player, you have a goal to get fit and you know a date when the season starts. So you can think, right, I've got 4 weeks of hard work or 6 weeks of hard work. We have no date. So players are running around fields and doing bleep tests with no goal and no end point to it. And that's what they found really, really, really hard. And it was the same for us managers. I sometimes wonder whether it'd be easy to go and manage Curtin Kestrel's under 9s when my boy plays. Because they just do want to play football. So
it's quite difficult to put ages on it and that. But do you think there's players that are maybe? I mean, the reason why it's difficult is because we've got someone like the age of Carlos Edwards still bossing midfield for a club at step 4. But do you think players that are approaching their mid-30s, late 30s, thinking about recovery times and everything else that goes into it, and the fact that seasons have been curtailed last year and people are beginning to feel a bit of doom and gloom around the level because of what's going on. Do you think that it is bringing into question more and more people sort of saying this could be it? Genuinely, this could be the end of my playing career at this level, or it could be time to draw curtains on it anyway because I can't keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, at this level, you do have to think about your life outside of football. And when you've got like I was no different when I was towards the end of my playing career. I had some relatively serious injuries that were affecting my day-to-day life with my kids because I'd play on a Saturday and genuinely I'd struggle to walk on a Sunday. That's how bad it got towards the end. And particularly with the increase of games that we're going to see in January, that's going to probably increase, and lads that are getting on that need a few more days to recover aren't going to have that. And I think you will see a lot knock it on the head a bit earlier than maybe they should or would normally. Yeah,
definitely. Stephen Boyle says being a volunteer at a football club this year has been zero fun. It's too much has been asked of certain people. I believe it's I've been told it's Adi Ellis, not Addy. I've been told it's Adi, so apologies, Addy.
It's so unlikely, unlike you, to get a word wrong.
Oh God no. Should the decision rather should never have been given clubs the choice, either all or nothing. Some clubs will use the option to defer to get players fit, recruit new players. Where I think I might know the answer on this one, but where do you kind of sit on the option of clubs, kind of having a choice? Because I mean, should there have been an option where people just say, right, well, if you don't want to, just let us know because the rest of us want to play? Do you think there should have been a vote at all? Where do you kind of sit on that?
I think there should have been a vote per division, and the majority, you just go with the majority. That's my personal opinion, and then it makes it even and equal for that whole division. I do think you're going to get scenarios, particularly in the Thurlow Nunn, where I was speaking to a manager the other night in the Thurlow Nunn where his club had voted to carry on, and then obviously everyone got the opportunity, then got told, well, actually only 11 of you are carrying on and 9 aren't, and then he's sort of like thinking, oh blimey, if I'd have known, maybe I'd have voted the other way, not to have played, so that we had a chance to bring back a few players from injury and all those types of things. And you sort of you're then thinking, and that's a Thurlow Prem club, you're then thinking the votes are starting to get a bit tactical, and it shouldn't be about that. It should be about, can you afford and do you want to play football, not about, oh, Carl, we've got a few injuries. Because to be honest with you, we're without tomorrow night. We're without 3 nailed-on starters for me.
Right.
Of injury, and I know it's
for anybody from Leatherhead. For anybody from Leatherhead watching this, that's not true. They're all fit. They're all ready and ready to go. Let's not give any tactics away.
But it can be tactical, and it really shouldn't be. It should just be about finances, health, and do you want to play football? In my opinion.
But if anybody is doing that, really, actually, if anything, they're probably letting themselves down, because if they try and get all of these people back up to what they consider fitness, you're then going to be asking them to, as Adam quite rightly said, potentially play 2 or 3 games a week. And if anything, you're going to put more and more strain on that recovery, because although they might be actually ready to go in terms of playing rather than with that injury, you are potentially hampering that that injury and making it worse further on down the line. So, I know I get potentially where that argument comes from, but if anything, you're probably going to make it 10 times worse further on down the line. But
yeah, and I think another question, I guess, that will be asked of the league, or certainly we've asked, is when they do come up with a decision as to where we're going to go with it, as to how long are we going to get? What sort of notice period are we going to get? Because we might be relatively lucky. Hopefully, we have a decent trophy run and we're carrying on playing, because potentially we could play up until the 19th of December, but other clubs might not. Bury, for example, they're out of the trophy, so
yeah,
are they going to have games? And equally, when are the Isthmian League going to say, right, you're going to have and that's all we want, a bit of guidance that when we do decide to go, you will have a minimum of 2 weeks or whatever that is. And that's kind of the lack of guidance I feel we're getting from the Isthmian League at the moment.
Do you think it's going to be like the furlough none then, where they just basically say, right, the government has said we're good to go from this weekend, it's all systems go or nothing? Do you think it probably will be like that?
Nothing would surprise me. I mean, it shouldn't happen, because you're gonna it's kind of putting the players' health at risk, in my opinion, doing that from an injury perspective. But nothing really surprises me at the moment with some of the decisions that have been made this year.
How good's the FA Trophy run proving for the club this year? I mean, that's going to be the thing that keeps you playing if you can stay in it. I mean, if anything, isn't that motivation enough to make players want to really pull through right now? That must be adding a bit of spice into the game tomorrow night.
Sorry, Adam, I missed that one.
So how good has the FA Trophy run been this year? And the fact that the ability that for you to progress means you keep playing football week in, week out almost, must be adding a bit of spice and a bit of passion into making sure you get the win tomorrow night anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we've said to the players, and the message we'll be delivering to them tomorrow before the game is that if you want to play football, you
go and win.
You've got the opportunity. It's kind of up to you. Because it's in your hands. If you go and win tomorrow, you ensure a game next week, and if you go and win next week, we've got another game on the 19th. So they can kind of ensure that, one, they continue to get paid, and two, and two, that they've got football to play, and that can be no bigger incentive for anyone really. But unfortunately, Leatherhead will probably be saying the same things to their players.
Yeah. Maverick UK, it'll be interesting to see how flexible the leagues become when it will be back, and when it will be back and loaded to the end of the season. We've got a question from Alex, which I'll bring up in a few moments. We just had Brian Lawrence saying, "Broads, don't let Noel Atkins retire. He's still got years left playing like Yaya Toure." Follow the trawler. This is just some team news on it. He just said, trying to look for things on the pitch. Any chance of Tiger featuring tomorrow? Was injured for our game, so didn't get to see him in action.
No, unfortunately, Tiger's still got a knock. He's he done his ankle against, I want to say, Sudbury at home, and he's been out ever since, which is about 6-7 weeks now. He's pretty close, but not quite ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem I ever had was convincing players not to retire was Byron Lawrence himself. So.
I think Colin at Follow the Trawler, I think he was gutted he didn't get to see him. I've been part of another group chat thing on Twitter, which has got loads of people that are all into the football scene. and they did a big feature on upcoming players, like in the local non-league levels that were doing bits, and he was brought up, and I know there was some excitement for him to be able to see him. And obviously when he came up with Met Police, Tiger was out injured, so big shame really for him not to be able to watch him play, because good player, and he really got a gift, that lad.
Yeah, he's a really, really good young lad from a really grounded family, and he's no doubt going to have an exciting future in front of him. I've got no doubt he'll go on to bigger and better things than perhaps we can offer him. But if we can play a part in his kind of development and his future, and I think his parents see that we're a club running the right way and are looking to kind of not just get our sort of our little piece of players, we're looking to develop them as well. And I think that he will go on to really good things. He's just got to get himself fit first and foremost, so he can give me some minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to bring Alex's question up on here. What's your opinion on dual signing so players have game time? For me, this happens all the time. It's only been this season that it's really been highlighted to be such a crucial thing or such a bad thing. It happens every single season. So I understand why. I understand why people are highlighting it.
The question's bigger though at the minute, because I think what they're saying is that for the 2 or 3 weeks that a league can't happen, all of the regulars at some squads are basically just going to be shifted aside to get people in from a couple of leagues above. I'm massively against it being done, and you kick your, how would you feel as a, someone that's played regularly for a team for a couple of years, and then someone just comes in and kicks you out for a few weeks just because they play 2 steps higher? I think that dual signing thing's a real double-edged sword in terms of managing your own squad.
I'm quite lazy, so I probably wouldn't mind.
I think on that, I think we've talked about it because clearly it's an option for any team, but we looked at it and thought dual regging players and bringing players in short term, I think would upset your squad, because I think that those who they're replacing are going to suffer for it. Because if I just grabbed a lad from a step 2 or a step 3 club and brought him in and played him ahead of one of my kind of regulars, if you like, then when that player goes back in a month's time, Johnny, who's been missing out on games, is not gonna like me anymore, certainly. And I think that just upsets the squad. So we've kind of made a conscious decision that unless it's kind of necessary because of an injury perspective, just like James, you mentioned, it happens all the time anyway. That's the only reason we bring someone in, in that regard, if we got an injury or really needed someone in.
Yeah, definitely. Just going to point up Jamie's comment on here. So Jamie King, he said we put it to all of our players on if they felt safe playing or not. We had enough to field one team each week and put it to the league, but we're told that we couldn't do that, and it was an all or nothing situation. That's an interesting point on that part. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's I think it's a similar situation with the Isthmian League. They've got their idea of how they want it to go, and they've got an idea exactly how they want people to vote, and are not really that interested in hearing the views of the clubs. Throughout the entire first lockdown and restart, we didn't get consulted once on anything. They decided upon the start-up date. They didn't ask how long prep we needed. They don't consult with clubs, and that's the biggest problem they have. They feel that as member clubs we should be consulted. They're there to look after us as member clubs. That's what a league is, and I don't think they've done that as well as they could have done. I'm not saying I could do any better job at all. It must be an absolute nightmare for the league, this situation. It's hard enough running a league without a situation like this, but I just feel if they communicated a little bit better with clubs, they'd get more of a consensus and a more sensible way forward.
I don't think there's any harm in recognising what can be learnt from situations like this. at all, and not communicating. No. Blakey spoke about how communication is the key to everything. Not communicating with clubs who are actually living within the mess that's pretty dire.
Yeah, definitely. Because it then comes down to a situation where obviously we've had the announcements that were made recently. I don't know if you saw off the back of it, Adam, for your comments on Twitter and stuff. I had I saw one. I can't remember who it was from. I think it was a chairman. I can't remember who it was now. He's saying, "Well, what are we supposed to do with all the beer and all of the stuff that we've brought in now?"
That was Russell Berry.
That's the one.
He's been very vocal. He was very. He spoke strongly when he came on the show a few weeks back, and it was really good to get his opinions on there. And he hasn't held back since. I know Mark Morsley has also been quite strong-minded about what he feels about it. I feel quite proud of our local clubs in terms of the fact that they have spoke up and not hidden away from it. And everyone knows their feelings and they're out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think it's more frustrating because, again, obviously you've come from our side, our part of the world, of how relatively good things are in terms of us compared to the rest of the country. It is quite frustrating, isn't it? And it must be even more frustrating for you when you're seeing other leagues kicking off above and below you, and you're kind of sat there right in the middle, and you're thinking, well, why are we not allowed to play? It makes absolutely no sense. You've got National League playing, you've got all of those guys playing, you've got SIL Furlough None games allowed to go ahead. Why are we stuck in the middle with no decision being made? And well, there is a decision being made, but we're not allowed to play. It must be incredibly frustrating for you.
Yeah, I think, as you said, really, I was speaking to my wife the other day, and she's, why aren't you playing? And I couldn't give her an honest answer because, there's the Premier League, the Football League, the National League, and then sort of this little section of Step 3 and Step 4 clubs aren't, but then Step 5 and Step 6 are, and all grassroots it is. So you think, well, hold on a minute, it can't be right.
I thought you'd be telling her that you are playing so you can go out for a pint and a substantial meal.
Yeah. The other thing was that the league, I think it got suggested that really it should be down to each individual division to kind of make their own decision because, clearly the Isthmian North, everyone's in Step 2, in Tier 2, is very, very different to another league like the Northern Premier, where a lot of them are in Tier 3. Yeah. And it's really important that they do that on an individual level. But the league's answer to that was, well, we can't have a situation like last year where we don't have relegations and promotions and null and void things. Well, hold on a minute. You're going to get that anyway because Step 2 are playing and Step 3 aren't, and Step 4 aren't, and Step 5 are. So you're going to have exactly that problem. The only problem you're going to alleviate is between interleagues between 4 and 3 as a level. And for me, that's just not a valid excuse at all, and felt very fobbed off by that. I think all the clubs did.
Yeah, no, definitely. Final comment on it. Step 3 and 4 clubs are businesses and should have received proper government funding, not loans on that, says Stephen Boyle. Stuart, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on and talking so honestly, openly and honestly rather about the club situation, how you feel about it. We were due to get the other side of things, as we tweeted out from Newmarket, but obviously Shiddies must be busy, Adam, in terms of this evening. We were hoping to get a debate on a club who wants to play and a club who's decided not to play on, but never mind. It's been good chatting with you. Honestly, it's been really good getting your opinions on everything, and thank you very much for coming on the show. Good luck tomorrow night. Represent Suffolk well.
Thanks a lot, and keep up the good work, guys.
Cheers. Appreciate that, mate. Thanks for coming on. So, Adam, interesting chat. Very interesting.
It was. I think we saw quite a few aspects of that discussion that we haven't gone through before. And if I was to say I'd take one thing away from it, it's that without volunteers, it doesn't really matter what we end up having to arrange to do. None of this is going to work because it's going to be more intensive either way. There's a lot of stresses on at the club. There'll be a lot of people on here now that are club volunteers, and I'm sure they could all sympathise with the stresses that they're sort of counterparts at different clubs are going under at the moment, and there is a passion there to just want to get those games on, I think, and make it work, make all that hard work to make everything COVID secure pay off. Really,
definitely.
Let's not forget that.
So we've got what we want to do now is we're going to go through a couple of smaller points in terms of some lighter news, some good news, and then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Super Six, which has had a very, very interesting turn, especially this weekend in the fixtures. And then we're going to have a look at the fixtures that have happened over the weekend. We're going to go through some of the results and talk about some upcoming fixtures as well. So first of all, from one of our sponsors, actually, we have a competition and a giveaway to go through. Adam, talk to us about this, just to let everybody know what the incentive is from Clubber Creative.
So absolutely hugely proud to be linking up with Clubber Creative, who specialise in web design, as James said earlier on. The reason why this is really important, you will have heard us bang on quite a lot about social media and digital media being the absolute key to to ways of growing your club at grassroots level. So what Clubber Creative are doing is they're offering a competition where you can win your club a fully managed website. It would, their full spec website that they offer, fully managed out. There's loads of features on the page at the moment in terms of what it does, and it will sync in with the FA full time and things like that. So it'll show all your results, which I think is cool, needed. It means your fans don't have to go all over the place to do it, but gives you a domain name, so you get your own the web name and everything. It's all hosted in there. It all lasts for a whole year and is sorted out. So it's a really good way to refresh your club's image online and push things digitally. We're going to be tweeting out a competition link, which is all scheduled for tomorrow night. So this is your fair warning, and this is to start understanding what's coming up, really. All you've got to do is the member of the club has got to fill out a competition link. It's one entry per person, but multiple entries per club. So you really need to be sharing this around your club to stand more of a chance of winning it. Competition value is around £250, so it's a really it's a top prize for us to give out, and it's going to save your club a lot of money and give them a brand new, absolutely incredible image. If you look on Clubber's website, their websites are absolutely genuinely incredible. They look so smart, and they've got sort of a test one on there that sort of shows you what's going on. You will need to retweet the competition tweet that we send out, as well as entering, and entries will close on the 4th of January. But we want to get this around as many clubs in Suffolk as possible, because it's a top chance for you to refresh your digital presence online, and it's obviously worth a bit of money as well. And if you can save money on web design and have a great new look, I think it'd be a brilliant way to start the new year.
Dean's put a comment on here saying, if those who aren't affiliated to a club involved, and if the winner, can we choose a club to win it on our behalf? I will have a word.
We need to check that, because it's tricky, because some clubs may not choose to enter because they may already have something in place. So we'd need to check that.
Okay. We'll have a look at that. Well, Dean, we will let you know. I'll DM you after the show, mate, and I'll let you know about that one. But yeah, just what you need to do, as I said, if you follow me, turn the notifications on for my Twitter page. So as and when these competition links get posted out, and we're going to be doing these, we're going to be posting out the link for it throughout December, so you'll be able to constantly keep an eye on it. As I said, retweet the link. Enter via the link that'll be in the tweet, and it gives you guys an opportunity to win yourself a website. I think it's a really cool incentive, and we thank you, Clubber Creative, for offering that, because as I said, it's a loss of money. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. For a whole year's worth, it's an absolutely fantastic option. So if that is something of interest, as I said, make sure you turn your notification tweets on for my Twitter page. So we've got that. A couple of smaller items as well. Adam, talk to me about Caversham. What's the deal with the charity raffle? Just for whilst I'm getting
long-term friends of mine and James's since we started trying to do different bits of non-league. Caversham United, they're a Sunday league club. They've just hit 10,000 followers, but they've always supported Balls to Cancer, which I know sort of locally, I know Curtis Haynes Brown is certainly doing something with at the moment. I think Curtly Williams has done some stuff with him as well, off the top of my head. So like these are a big charity in terms of football and something that we want to help out with. They're running a raffle at the moment, which is £5 a ticket, or £20. You get 5 tickets on it. Some of the prizes they've got up for grabs are absolutely incredible, that they've managed to get. They've got the commentary sheet from when England beat Germany 5-1, signed by Clive Tilsley. They've got signed football shirts from, I think, Atletico Madrid. They've got one. They've got shirts from Roma. Vouchers, football kit boxes are on there. Squad signed FC Cologne shirt. Squad signed hashtag shirt. I know everyone in the chat's going to love that. We're all getting on that. A match worn Emerson Boyce Wigan shirt, which has been signed as well. Wickham training top, loads and loads of football gear, and it's such a good cause. They've already smashed their target, and I said, like, I'd more than happily advertise that on here. And I think people like to be in with a shot. Just to win a prize.
Just on the back of that, the link for the Just Giving page has just gone into the chat. So if you want to get involved in that, now it's a good opportunity to do. Go over to Caversham's Twitter page, give them a follow, and have a look at some of the things that they are giving away. But if you do want to enter it, as I said, I've just put the link for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for that. So if you want to get involved, as I said, it's all for a good cause, and that is ultimately the main point to it. Balls to Cancer. It's a great charity on there. But if there's something you're interested in, have a look at some of the prizes, and if you want to get involved, donations away, my friends. And also a donation cause which is closer to home. I've put on here about the 4 men 3 peaks in one day challenge. This is something where it's for the charity Mind. Now, I talked about this during lockdown, where we had a guest coming on and talking about the charity in a bit of detail. Now, this is for a really good cause. Minds are there for the mental well-being of young men up and down the country. So there are 3 lads from our area, 4 people from our local area, including Craig Brand, who's the goalkeeper at Ipswich Wanderers, who's contacted me about this. Again, I'm now going to put the link to this Just Giving page over in the chat as well. Again, if you want to get involved and help support another good cause, is there available in the chat for you. And again, I'll be posting these out throughout the week as well. Just thought it'd be good to put some lighter side of things and some good causes into this part of the show as well.
It's been nice to mix it up a little bit tonight with a few different things that we can advertise that are happening locally. If your club's got any stuff for good causes that are going on, absolutely, like, really appreciate them being sent over to us, and we're more than happy to advertise them. I think, like, as a group, we've got a really good community that all help each other out. So
100%. Psyche, great cause and for a great challenge. Adam Potter, done the 3 peak myself, and what a great time that was. So yeah, if either of those are something you want to get involved in, links for all of those are in the chat. Adam, Super 6 time now. Talk to me. What happened this weekend? Chaos happened this weekend.
It fell apart, didn't it?
It did. Let's face it, it did.
I got really excited at the start of the week, and I let people volunteer fixtures for me to include. At kickoff, it was down to the Super 2. 8 minutes into the Walsham game, I thought we were going to end up with the Super 1 because there was a horrific injury at the Walsham game, which I think delayed it by 40 minutes due to a broken collarbone to one of the Walsham players. So I hope he gets better soon as well, in all seriousness. So, well, I ran it still. I thought it's all results. People would be more annoyed with me if I was unable to do it at all. So the points will be on the board in a minute. Tony there as well with Henley AFC Ladies. They've ran 517 kilometres, raised £1,040 for Ella's Fight. They've been big on Twitter.
Again, that's the kind of stuff. If you want us to talk about that kind of stuff as well, if you've got something you want us to give us a shout out, reach myself and Adam on Twitter, and we'll make sure that we do that for you. But yeah, thank you very much, Tony. For letting us know about that one. Get get well soon, Charlie, in terms of the Walsham keeper on there as well. Dean Cooper says, well done to the ladies. So, yeah. Daniel Barnard's comment, I think we should call a postponement on the fixture as a result. Thoughts?
I'll just delete Dan's results. That's not a problem. If he wants a postponement, he can opt out like some of the clubs have opted out of the league. That's fine. He won't be able to win a prize this month. To be honest, the football kitbox prize has generated a lot of interest. We've got 8 new members that have joined the Super Six, so welcome on board to them. Sadly for everyone that's in it, I think 6 of the 8 are actually good at it, and scored 3 out of 6 points, which most of us didn't manage to do.
So let me just bring the graphic up and just explain. So we've only got the one person's name on here. Why do we only have the one person for December? Just explain that just before people jump in the comments and start saying.
Right. I thought instead of me I was out late last night. I went to a Christmas light show, so part of it's my fault. But I thought instead of me making a huge table, considering 30 of us didn't even score a point this week, because we normally run 1 to 60, I'd just do a quick top 5. After I did all the results, so many people scored 3 points, it wouldn't have got on properly. So we've got about 13, 14 people with 3 points. And then Ben was the top scorer of the week. Was the top scorer of the week, and he got 4 points. Only person to get 4. So yeah, there's not much to talk about so far. But what I'd say is the first week has meant that it's still wide open going into week 2. I've been speaking with Paul, so that football kit box is all sorted. That's going to be coming over, and it is a top prize. If you want to subscribe or get something for someone for Christmas, footballkitbox.com is the place to go for it. And as I said last week, the prizes are absolutely ace. And you can follow him on Twitter as well, or on Instagram, where he sticks all of his images. That's worth looking at. But like I say, poor performance all round, really. Mixed result.
It's to be expected when there's only 2 games to really choose from. So,
well, the problem is, James, is that the people that got 3 points basically went against Walsham winning, so they should all feel dirty anyway, because no one got 4-3 to Haverhill.
No, I highly doubt that.
So anyone that got 3 points or more needs to have a look at themselves in the mirror, because you sort of bet against a local team, so you should definitely feel dirty.
I think if anyone's got a chance of winning this competition, I think more people will be inclined to bet against the local sides. It's a good prize to win. So this is the league table overall. So much movement on here before we move on to this week's Super Six.
You've moved down.
Standard.
Yeah, like Alex has climbed nicely into 6. And he's gained a bit. Jordan carries on putting the pressure on. But generally not too much, because so many people just didn't score. So just a little bit of movement, but a lot of this league looks pretty similar to how it did before. Spread didn't score this week, but Tommy did, so gap at the top has closed up. And Jordan and Sean now share sort of third spot as such. Jordan has really sort of shot up there.
Yeah, my dad's going to be absolutely gutted that he's still not in this top 60 list. He talks about it all the time.
Honestly, I think it's so funny. He's someone that does it every single week relentlessly.
Yeah.
Doesn't make top 60. So good performance from everyone, really, in terms of getting the results in. Unfortunate the way the fixtures went, and it didn't really mean we got a good measure of how good we were at it this week.
No,
and no one's going to be getting a 4-3 Claydon Haverhill. Like it was almost a write-off, you know.
Yeah, definitely. But this is this week's Super Six. I still think we should do this on a Monday night because it's part of the show. But ultimately, whether or not we get to Saturday morning and these 6 games are still going ahead or not is another matter. But I think we should still do it as part of the show because I don't want to wait around to a Friday night and then we look at the fixtures and do something because it won't give everyone enough time to enter the competition. So I know fixtures are going to be lost, But I think if we get to a point where we start sending out links for every single time we replace a game, it's just going to get absolutely chaotic. So these are the fixtures that we're going for this week. And whilst those are up on the screen, again, I'm just going to post the link into the chat. For that side of things, you are not the only one. I had about 3 people before we went live say to me, I've completely forgot to do this week's competition. So we've got Bramford versus Wroxham, which is an absolute belter at the top of the table. Whitton versus Norwich United. Fakenham versus Lakenheath, which again is a top of the table clash. Trimley Red Devils versus East Bergholt United. Sporting 87 versus Bacton United. And Ufford Sports versus Waltherstone, the top of the table clash in Div 2.
How dirty those fixtures are. Like, they're going to be horrible to try and guess.
I know. I really wanted to go for some like top versus bottom kind of fixtures, and I thought, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I can't.
If anyone gets over 9 points this week, I would be absolutely shocked.
Yeah, definitely. So if you want to get involved in this week's Super 6, obviously with your chance to win the competition for December for the football kit box, or whether or not you want to just compete for the end of season prize, make sure you get involved with the Super 6. Again, it's in the chat now. It's on Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube. Just make sure you click the link, go and fill out your predictions on there, and see how you compare to your fellow Suffolk County men and women. I'm going to be doing mine straight after the show before Adam tells me that I forgot again.
You'll forget. Alex is doing all right week on week. He's scoring a fairly good average.
Yeah, Alex is doing well.
If you go back to the table, though, you'll see like it's so tight. There was just a couple of weeks where people pulled away, and I think I was looking at it yesterday, sort of 25 all the way up to 31 points to 44 points, sort of separates Michael Crowfoot to Jordan Mays and Sean Watson. That could easily swing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So good. Stuart's already got on his. Tony's already done his. I'm guessing Alex has already done his, although
there is one more person to give a shout out to, and they deserve it.
Go on then. Before we move on.
Dixon didn't put anything down for the match he played in.
Really?
He refused to put something down for that match. He just put no response.
That's brilliant.
But he got the score correct for the Walsham game.
Brilliant.
So he got 3 points, which is one of the top scores. But unfortunately, he wouldn't bet on his own team. So lot of kudos for that.
Definitely. Right, let's get to the point of the show where we start talking about fixtures. Let's get you guys commenting on this weekend's game in the chat. If you were at a game and we're talking about the certain league, let us know what happened in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. Again, friendly reminder, if you're at this point of the video, if you're still watching us live, as there are loads of you still watching us live, I can see the viewer count as we're going. If you're on Facebook, share the video onto your timelines. If you are on Twitter, make sure you give the video a retweet. If you are from a YouTube perspective, can you please subscribe to the channel? We are 5 subscribers away from 1,500. This week has seen a massive, massive increase in subscribers. And when you are there, make sure you hit the like button as well. It's incredibly easy to subscribe on YouTube. All you need is a Gmail account. You log into YouTube in the top corner. You go over to the DeeJam YouTube channel and you hit subscribe. Simple as that. You turn the notifications on, and every time we go live, you are sent a notification about it and you are informed. It's so easy, and it just helps the channel grow in a massive, massive way. And as I said, 5 away from 1,500 for a channel that talks about Suffolk non-league football is just like absolutely mind blown. So
there's 74 in the chat now on YouTube alone. So if you can all just close the chat down for a minute and just press the thumb up, that will ensure that this video gets streamed to more people that like local non-league football, pushing the profile of Suffolk football. And then you can just press the live chat button and it all comes back up again. Really important just to have that little surge on it. But I don't want to bang on about it, but it's more about spreading the word of what you and your teams are doing than it is about me and James sat here in front of the camera.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you want to get into your WhatsApp groups as well, feel free to do so, because we're now getting to the point of a chat where we start going through the results. And oh God, I've missed this, Adam. I've missed talking about football results so bloody much. I'm not joking. D Cooper, I'm in. I'm guessing this is around. I'm guessing this is talking about the Super Six.
Yeah. I've had loads of through forms. You're all on it this week.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, let's get some fixtures up on the screen, shall we? So if we start off, first of all, with the FA Vars results, second round ties this weekend. Obviously, cup competition's never nice to kickstart things off from a lockdown session, but we saw Fakenham and #United playing at a 0-0 draw. Fakenham winning 4-3 on penalties.
Unbelievable from Fakenham.
Yeah, a lot of people will be happy in the chat. Mildenhall versus Leighton Town. Apparently this went down as an away win. I'm guessing because certain players couldn't fulfill the fixture. I'm not entirely sure.
Mildenhall withdrew.
There you go. So that must be the same reason for the Norwich United one against Burton Park Wanderers, obviously, because Norwich United have gone through to the next round. But we saw North Greenford United beating Walsham and the Willows 2-1. Stanway Rovers and Ampthill United playing at a 1-1 draw, with Ampthill United winning 4-2 on penalties. Stowmarket 5-0 against Ennisbury Rovers, which, Adam, you didn't see this result coming. You were talking in the car on the way there, and no way did you see that result happening.
No, I didn't. Ainsbury Rovers are a good team. They're top of their league and going well. Yeah. Stowe snuck in the signing of Reggie Lamb before the game.
Thoughts on that in the comment section.
playing league football last year, and he's there for Stowe. And on his debut, he got man of the match and scored. I've heard from a few people. I've had a chance to speak to a few people, and they've said he looks unbelievable. You'd kind of expect him to, but what a talent!
He's a talent, isn't he? When you told me that news, I said You didn't tell me who he used to play for, did you? You said this bloke has just signed for Stowmarket, and I said he's not the one who played for Cambridge, is he? And you instantly said yes. I was like, I know that name from Football Manager. He's an unbelievable player.
He had a whole raft of league and international experience, and if you just put that alongside some of the other players that they've got in, I know they've had a patchy start, as Muzzy graded it a B himself so far to the season. But getting Casement in just 2 games before went into lockdown or whatever, and then you've got Reggie Lamb in, unbelievable. It really is.
Yeah, 100%. He'll be leaving soon as Michael sponsored him. Absolutely brilliant.
Literally anyone that Michael sponsors does quit.
Yeah, that does seem to be an ongoing joke. Wellingborough 1, Woodbridge Town 0, and Wroxham 3-0 against Milton Keynes Irish, with Milton Keynes Irish winning 4-3 on penalties. Dan says it's a bit of a mixed bag for the Furlough None clubs, Fakenham being a step 5 side, but Wroxham and Stanway losing to step 6. 100% mixed on that.
Like Stanway, they've had an up and down start, but Wroxham absolutely shocked by, because I think 2 of the goals Wroxham scored in the 3-3 were both penalties anyway.
Were they?
Yeah. One of them very late on. They were losing 3-2. And big old Grant Holt stepped up. But yeah, never ever would have seen that come in, and I probably would have put down Wroxham to absolutely pummel them, but not good, obviously.
Definitely. Michael Crowfer said Stowe Town was a good game. New signing Reggie Lamb looks a good result. 5-0, and I felt Stowe still had another gear. Seb Dunbar playing absolutely brilliant in a great goal with his right foot. What's your standout result, just before we kind of quickly move on to the next one, because I want to kind of rattle through these if we can.
Wroxham losing to Milton Keynes.
That's your standout one, is it?
You think how far Wroxham went last season in it? Yeah,
true.
They were right there to the death. They got knocked out in the final round. I think that got played before. There was one more round and they were out. But Wroxham went a long way last year. Stowe's is a big one, and Fakenham as well going through against #. But that'll get the glamour because they were playing #. Wroxham losing to Milton Keynes Irish, they're just unbelievable.
Yeah, for me it's the Fakenham one. Absolutely love that result. I won't go into the reasons why, but I absolutely love that result. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on the matter. Let's move on.
Big fan of hashtag.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not saying that. Not saying that. I don't want to get into a war of words of hashtag United because they will win.
I don't think the boys are watching.
You never know. A lot of people do, Adam. If you see him, you've seen last week's show, we're massive.
I'm under no illusions that people came for Blakey, not for me.
Oh, man. God, yeah, 100%. Before people get ahead of ourselves, we're 100% not. It's just a joke. Suffolk Senior Cup time. Obviously, we were at the Claydon Haverhill Borough match. Again, if you haven't seen the highlights and the match day experience from that game, please make sure you go and do so, because it was just an unbelievable game of football. Really, really was. Played at a good intensity. Both teams really went at it. The game didn't have any lull moments. If anything, it probably slowed down in pace because of the referee rather than what the players were doing. The players were playing at such an intensity. They really, really went at it. And yeah, it was a last minute winner as well for Haverhill. So obviously, if I was one of those YouTubers that did their clickbait and, I'd make a thumbnail of last minute scenes with a picture of me looking incredibly shocked and stuff like that.
Running up and down the touchline at the end. Unbelievable scenes.
Yeah.
It could have been 10-all that game.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Really, really was.
Genuinely, like one of the better games I've seen for ages. I don't know if it's just because I've had a drought of being able to see things, but both teams so impressive. Really were. Haverhill's forward was absolutely lethal. Then they brought someone on at half time that played in a number 20 shirt. Never caught his name. Unbelievable talent. So quick.
Yeah.
So good. So really good. But Haverhill should be looking upwards after that result, and I can't understand their league form based on the way they played. Yeah.
Alex, I know you were at the game for Bourne Vale versus Ipswich Wanderers. So if you just want to type in the chat, mate, a little summary of what the game was like. I know there was. There you go, Matty Harris is Borough's number 20. There you go. There's your name for you.
Sorted.
Absolute knowledge there from Guy Hubban. Bourne Vale 0, Ipswich Wanderers 4. I suppose on paper, it's not really that much of a shock result considering how well Ipswich are doing in the league. It'd be good to, as I said, if Alex is still if you are in the chat, mate, if you've got something you want to say on that particular game, just put it into put it in there and we'll bring it up on the screen there. But only the two games from that one. So we'll move on to Furlough None action now. So they've got the Premier results. There's only the one game to really talk about. Well, there was only one game to talk about, full stop. Galston 4, Thetford 0. Adam, I mean, what do you want to say on this one? It's there's only the one game to review, but for Thetford, just can't buy a win, can they? Just can't seem to get any sort of momentum.
Let's be logical about it with everyone. If you can't buy a win, Galston at the moment aren't the team you want to be sort of trying to purchase it off, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. Like Christy Finch has just gone to Galston, is ripping it up.
Yeah.
And I tweeted him at the weekend, just sort of saying it was good to see him in the goals and stuff. And he said he's really enjoying his football again. And they've built some team there, like just signing a new goalkeeper, starting with a clean sheet and stuff. Like, honestly, I think Galston can really start looking up as well with what they're doing. But we said that earlier in the season. I feel like I've cursed them. I'd like to get their manager on the show. I don't know how much interest there'd be. I know it's a Norfolk team. I don't know how much interest there'd be from everyone to have him on and have a chat with him about what they're building there, because let's be honest, what they've got there this season and what they had last season are polar opposites from each other. And they seem to be building something really good. And like we've got Christy Finch, Hendo, Jake Jessup, ridiculous. In terms of where things are. But Jake Jessup's already agreed to come on and talk to us. So it'd be good if we could get Jake on with one of their managers. And I've already had a word with him. And he said he'll come on. So if there is interest, I'd be well up for having a chat with Galston and seeing what the plans are for them. Yeah. But let us know if that's something that you want to hear. The show's about you as a community rather than just what me and James want to do.
Exactly. I have updated the league table for what it's worth, because I know some people will get upset if we don't update the league table for whatever reason. But that win just sees Galston going 5 points clear of next place in the table, FC Clacton. And again, for Thetford, it's now 10 games played and just the 1 victory. So just a quick reminder for everyone, that is what the league table looks like at the moment. Moving on to... Sorry?
I need to blow the dust off the league tables.
Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. Yeah. Fixtures for the Furlough Non-Prem for the week. There's 2 midweek games if you want to get yourself off to a game this week. We've got Brantham Athletic versus Haverhill Rovers and FC Clacton versus Walsham Llewellows. So 2 good matchups there. It will just be, I don't really think at this point it's about who's, what's the kind of, we'll still talk about standout game, etc. But just to have football back, just to have midweek football back is the most important thing. Irvin, to your point, has just said yes, game on. Dean Cooper said yes. Alex is talking about the other game, saying Bourneville held their own in the first half. First half, they kept Wanderers at bay for the first 20. Michael says get them on. They're all part of the Furlough None League and NMSC Jensen DeeJam Army. Absolutely love it, mate. Thank you very much. So that's the midweek games. Weekend wise, we then have what looks like quite a full list of fixtures. We'll see what it's like on the Sunday or Saturday morning rather. Brantham Athletic versus Wroxham, Hadley United versus Galston, Haverhill Rovers versus Clacton, Stanway Rovers versus Woodbridge, Walsham Llewellows versus Ely, which I think you talked about it earlier on. Looks like an absolutely brilliant matchup.
That'll be a belter.
Yeah, Whitton United versus Norwich United rounds up the Furlough Non-Prem. Is the Walsham versus Ely, is that the standout one for you?
It's a standout fixture for me, but don't sleep on Brantham versus Wroxham.
Yeah.
Brantham they're both unbeaten in the league, and Wroxham travelling away. Someone's record is going to have to fall.
Yeah.
I know Brantham, I might be speaking a bit prematurely because Brantham have got a hard game midweek as well. But yeah, Haverhill's game on Saturday is an odd one, isn't it? Like in difficult form, but Clacton have barely played. So that'll be an interesting one and quite a telling one. So yeah, a couple of good games in there.
Definitely. Before we move on to the Furlough None North, we've had a comment in from NMFC Jensen. Thoughts about the Needham Leiston Cup game tomorrow night?
Well, what a matchup to have, honestly. I'm not going to be drawn to saying which team I want to go through. It's a bit awkward, that, isn't it? It's just going to be a belter, and I think if you manage to get a ticket or you're going, enjoy it.
100%.
Needham are the team that are flying in the league, but Leiston score. Leiston can have also. They went into lockdown having won that last game.
Yeah.
So like on paper, it's there for the taking for Needham, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you look at the league, but
just say Needham.
but yeah, Jensen. If I'm honest, I think Leiston are going to batter you. No, I'm joking, mate. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
it will be interesting.
Definitely. Furlough None North time again. Only the one result to go through on here. Sheringham winning 5-0 away at AFC Sudbury Reserves.
Did you look at that game, James? That's 0-0 at half time.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sheringham are they've got a bit of a tendency for doing that.
Right.
There's a funny gif put on Twitter that the water bottles got thrown by Sheringham at half time, and then 5
hair dry treatments and stuff. Yeah, 100%. So as a result of that win, it now sees Sheringham move into the top half. They're now in 8th place on 15 points, level on games actually, with quite a few teams around themselves as well. So they've picked themselves up from some early season kind of disappointment. From an AFC Sudbury perspective, look, they are where they are. They had a lot of the reserve side had a decent start to the season and are gradually going back down the table other than Leyton Reserve. So that is the league table, just as a reminder to everyone. The one midweek game from this division, which I can reveal, this is the one I'm off to tomorrow night. I'm going to be recording some highlights of Debenham versus Needham Market Reserves. Now, a lot of you may well be thinking, well, why would I not go to the Needham Leyton game? Truth be told, I didn't really know that it was going on. So I contacted
the epicenter of football knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I looked for a league fixture. That's why I looked for league fixtures and I couldn't see any going on. So I just thought, okay, I'll go to this. I'll let Alex know. And yeah, once I've told somebody I'm going somewhere, I'm not gonna back down on that. So that if you're interested in that, the highlights of that will be available for you Wednesday midday. I'm looking forward to that one because I enjoyed watching Needham Market play last time. They were the last game we covered on the show before lockdown 2.0 happened. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the weekend's action, we've got Sudbury Reserves versus Great Yarmouth Town, Debenham versus Haverhill Borough, Diss versus Sheringham, Fakenham versus Lakenheath, Kings Lynn versus Downham Town, Needham Market versus Ipswich Wanderers, and Wisbech versus Cornard United. Adam, standout from that, it's got to be Fakenham, Lakenheath, isn't it? That's surely that's the standout game.
That Wisbech St Mary versus Cornard one's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
like I know what you're saying, but in terms of league position, yeah. I'm intrigued down the bottom of the table.
I think a lot of people are going to the same game as I am. Me and Michael are going to be going there as well. James, yes, I know it's going to be absolutely freezing. See you there tomorrow. James says Dan Snell. Again, Michael's just then backed up what Connor's saying. See you tomorrow. God, a lot of people are going. Michael, bring your morning.
I have loads of friends.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I thought I might be the only person, from our kind of chat all going on there. Alex is absolutely loving it. Dan Barnard says I can see Wisbech winning that game.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be either.
But yeah, hard to call. But obviously the standout fixtures Fakenham, Lakenheath. But I want to try and look beyond the scope of that. Again, like the form that AFC Sudbury Reserves have been in, and then you look at Great Yarmouth, who have been absolutely levered a couple of times recently. Let's not hide away from that. That could be an interesting game on its own. Yarmouth having to go away to Sudbury, with and the reserve teams are going to be wanting to pick up the points again. So there's a good card of fixtures there. Just be interesting, really.
Definitely. SIL time now. Here are the 3 results that we had over the weekend. Obviously, we had quite a few postponements very last minute in the SIL. We had Bennell beating Leyton St Margaret's 5-0, Halesworth beating Cobblestonians 5-1, and Hawley United versus Bilderston Rangers, which was actually our backup game if the Claydon one also got postponed, saw Bilderston winning 4-2. So some really... Sorry?
We would have seen a good game if we would have gone there as well.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, 100%. But Bennell and Halesworth just continuing to do. They've just picked up where they left off, really, haven't they?
Like they haven't been away, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Bilderson, your team, Adam, doing well.
Yeah. Well done, boys. Keep going. Always had your back.
Do you know what? I can't remember the bloke's name now, but there was somebody on Twitter who on Instagram who I follow. He's got the club's badge tattooed on his leg. That is some serious commitment to your club.
Oh, if Wisbech St Mary finished top half, I think you should do it with Wisbech.
Oh God, no! Don't be saying that kind of stuff.
I've set a certain goal there, James. There was definitely a joke to it.
Dan Barnard, get well soon to the Cops goalkeeper who got injured. On there. Bart is still a top striker for Bilderson. Yeah, obviously I know when the last time I think I covered Bilderson, it was just then he was injured and waiting for an operation to go ahead. So I didn't know whether or not that was going to stop, stop him from having continuing to have the good career that he's had. But obviously it's not been the case on that one. Took both of his goals really well, apparently, on that side of things. So here is the league table. There's only the 3 games to kind of go through, but we now see Halesworth top. They overtake Claydon, obviously, with Claydon playing in cup action. Bennell are now level on points with Claydon. Again, with Bilderson now, although Bilderson have played a couple of games more, but it's just still unbelievably tight. You've got Trimley, East Burgoll, Ransoms, Old Newton, Bourne Vale, and then the bottom half of the table where, again, we've still got a lot of teams who are yet to really kind of get going with this season. But hopefully, after this week's disappointment, we can start to get some fixtures back for a lot of these teams.
If you levelled that all and maybe put Henley and Cranes, add 6 points to them, look at the state of that league, how tight it's going to be. Like, I know you can't guarantee wins, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous. Like, I don't know where that breaking point is, where it starts to pull away and stuff. And it is unbelievable. Obviously, we're not going to see some of these teams going for a while. Off the top of my head, I know Achilles aren't going to get going. I think Old Newton have also opted not to play.
That's that. There you go, Ben. That's your answer on that one. There's quite a few teams that have decided not to, aren't there?
So there's going to be a couple of teams that do sort of drop behind a bit. I don't know how many games will actually happen in December, both with weather and other things happening. But I think they're likely, because the things are a bit uneven. I don't think Achilles will actually be that many games behind the way that.
No, it will be. There'll be 3 matches played between now and the end of the year.
Right.
It won't be massive. Let's put it that way. But it then just ramps up the pressure when the weather does start getting poor. But we've already had this. We've had that conversation.
Any pressure, James, on Leiston St Margaret's?
Sorry.
Do you think there's any pressure now on Leiston St Margaret's to try and get the points and make Achilles do the work from the bottom of the league and not to get stranded down there with them?
Yeah, there's I mean, with Capel Plough, I think Capel Plough are not. They've decided they're not going to be playing.
They're not playing.
So no. So with both them and Achilles not playing, there is going to be that opportunity because they've already played more games than the other teams around them, so they do need to start picking up some points somewhere. Otherwise, you come to a position where those teams are going to come back from those games and think, actually, we've got a good chance here.
Other than Cops, though, there's not really anyone around them that they can grab the points off that might make the immediate difference. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. And Cops are one of those teams I kind of expect to start turning things around, but I've been saying that from the beginning of the season, so we'll see. Shem, lots of fixture changes this week on full time. Yeah, I was constantly refreshing it every 10-15 minutes on Saturday morning. Just to try and find out what was going on on the fixtures. So these are the fixtures coming up for this weekend. So we've got Copplestonians versus Claydon, Halesworth versus Westerfield United, Hawley versus Crane, Henley versus Bourne Vale, Leiston versus Bilderston, Ransom versus Bennell, and Trimley versus East Burgoll. Some very good games in there. I'm not going to reveal which game I'm going to, by the way, for Saturday, because I think this weekend has just been a prime example of I don't know what the hell is going to be going on. So I think I'll wait.
Is that?
Sorry?
There's no point in us committing at the moment.
No.
Last minute.
Exactly.
It feels like we're going to let people down because of how things crop up and stuff. So
yeah. Kenny saying Cops.
Kenny, yeah. I think we'd both agree with that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Cops and Leiston have a chance to put the pressure on. Old Newton, according to either not playing until January. Macca wanted an extended Christmas booze up. I don't think that was the reason why. But yeah, some really, really good fixtures that look, again, on paper, very, very tasty. The Henley Bourne Vale one in particular. Cobbs versus Claydon looks like a very good matchup. Ransoms versus Bennell. Trimley versus East Burgoll. There's some good fixtures in there. Really.
We've spoken about difficulties for Leiston St Margaret's. You see that they've got to face an informed Bilderston.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any easier for them, does it?
No. Again, same thing for Westerfield. It doesn't get any easier for them playing Halesworth because Halesworth are very, very impressive. Div 1 time. The fixtures, the results from this weekend, rather. We've got Bacton beating Stowe Falcons 3-2, Sporting beating ASC Kesgrave 2-1, and Tattingstone beating Wickham Market 2-0. And I can now give you the highlights. Thanks to Sean Watson from Crane, who went along to the Tattingstone game this weekend. I'm just going to be playing you the goal highlights from Tattingstone versus Wickham Market.
Right, forward.
And to ask your question, was it a pen? No, I've watched that 5 times over. That is not a penalty.
So silly.
And why no one from the Wickham Market side didn't go mental at that point, I don't understand, because that is not a penalty in a million years. Absolutely no way.
His legs folded.
Yeah, it was nowhere near him. Absolutely nowhere near him.
2 goals or just 1 goal with a mirror image on itself as well?
Oh, yeah. Both very similar goals, weren't they? Balls across the box into a very dangerous zone. Goalkeeper doesn't know whether or not to come or go. Very good finishes, but yeah, very similar goals.
I'm going to be a bit harsh. That first one looked very own goaly to me, though.
Right.
I think if I watch this back, it looked like it clipped the defender, but who cares? I went in the back of the net. I was in a Twitter conversation, and Wickham just felt they didn't turn up in terms of the discussion around it. For them, it just didn't turn up, and that's all it was. But Tat won't take it. You can't take away the fact that on paper that's a great win for Tat.
Goes to the VAR screen, love it.
What sort
bad
of
angle? Bad angle. I'm not having that. That's
VAR screen has been projected onto the church in the background.
Damn Barnard, harsh. There were 3 penalty shouts in that game, according to Alex. Shem, I'm not going to comment. So those three fixtures then means that the league table looks like this. So Wickham obviously still top. Oh no, their loss is not on there. I haven't updated their loss. That's shocking from me. That's shocking. It should be 7 wins and the 1 loss. I obviously don't want to have an unbeaten side disappearing on there. Apologies, everybody. I did mean to update that part. But Tattingstone are second now, thanks to 1 goal better than Sporting 87s, considering both, despite the fact that both teams won on the weekend. And again, a cluster of teams behind them on 10 points. Again, it's, we've still got a situation where Barham are down in the relegation zone, haven't played 2 games, still on their holidays, and they're going to be they're now off to the Maldives. Lucky boys.
Did Darty Games actually score the goal or something? He seems a bit annoyed that I questioned that was a. I might have questioned that was an own goal. I reckon he did. Got a bit of a bore off from him. So
yeah,
just what I saw, mate.
Yeah, Barham's still on their holiday in
Bali. Yeah, boys are getting an awesome tan.
100% they are. Fixtures for this upcoming weekend. We've got Kesgrave versus Tattingstone, Bedwicks versus Barham, Coddenham versus Wickham Market, Grunsbury versus Stowe Falcons, and Sporting versus Bacton. Tat will see this weekend as a good opportunity to not only put that, to get that win this weekend, to then follow that up against Kesgrave, they will see that as a good opportunity, won't they? Let's be honest.
They will. I think Kesgrave do feel hard done by because of the weekend's a late goal from Sporting. Like I know Ian's already been in the chat, but they were 1-0 up at half time, weren't they? I think. So tough start. But they'll get to go again, and that'll be a good game, I reckon.
Yeah, very, very good game. The one I'm particularly looking forward to seeing is Sporting versus Bagton.
The battle of the eight.
Because Bagton are one of those. Bagton, I'm going to say this in the politest way possible, are one of those teams you never know what you're going to get from Bagton. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know what you're going to get. And I think that's very true based on their form over the last 5 games, is they are very hit and miss. So on their day, they could quite easily give Sporting a run for their money, but it just depends on which Bagton turn up. Alex has said Coddenham versus Wickham Market for him. Again, another good shout. Could be a very, very good game on paper. Will be interesting to see how Wickham respond to that defeat against Coddenham. Let's move on to Div 2 now. Here are the results from the weekend. AFC Yorkshire's 3-2 winners against Thurston. Elmswell 4-0 against Saxmundham Sports. Melton 2-0 against Wolverstone United. And Ufford Sports, who, after losing the first 3 games, have unbelievably turned their season around. They won 4-3 against Cockfield United. Adam, what's your kind of standout one from there?
From what I can make out, your shirts are particularly pleased with their result.
Yep.
That's been banded around and gone on there. Like, obviously, Wolverstone losing isn't great for them with where they are. They would have been seeking a result, like, not to state the obvious, but Melton picking up the win there at home. It's all home wins.
Yeah.
This week. So
very true. Didn't spot that actually before. This is the current league table then as a result of that. So obviously, as you mentioned, Wolverstone had won their previous 4 games going into lockdown, and that's their first defeat of the season. Dean is doing a very good job. Look at that. As I said, 3 defeats for the beginning of the season for Ufford, and now there they are in second place. It's been an unbelievable turnaround. But with your shirts and Wolverstone still there, who have played less games in the top 2, this division's wide open.
That Wolverstone game was quite important, though, in terms of league table, which is what I was sort of trying to get at. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and Elmswell down in 7th place have only played 4 games, have won 3 and lost 1. So again, you can't rule them out. You know that they will go on a good run because we all know what Elmswell are capable of. It's just they need to play some games. So this league, it could be anyone's. Really, really could, because I think you can see from the fact that so many teams have lost games at the top is that anybody's capable on their day. Do you know what I mean? Anybody's capable of picking up a result and beating each other,
doesn't it?
Yeah,
because the mix of how many games have been played. I think even the team in 12th place, which I can't see because it's covered up, isn't it? Yeah, Curtin. They've only played 4 games. So if you level them on games with Ufford, say, and they had 8 games, add 12 points onto what they've got, they'd have 15 points as well. Do you know what I mean? If you do really coarse maths, it, you could spin it around very, very quickly. So early doors, it feels way too early to be analysing too much that's going on in a league that is as wide open as what this one is.
I think the only team that I can definitely pin anything on is Stonham. They're the only team that I can say, right, I'm either worried or excited. Do you know what I mean? They're the only one that needs, does that make sense? Am I coming across in the right way? They're the only team I can definitively say this is what's going to be happening with their season, whereas the rest of the league could literally just roll a dice and whoever, who knows.
I'd still love Stonham to turn it around and pop a couple of wins together and change our minds, because all they need is a couple of results, and they do change it around.
Yeah, 100%.
And 100%. So it's not that I'm not backing them, it's just that so far nothing's looked like it's going to go their way.
Yeah. Definitely. Here are the fixtures for this weekend. We've got Your Shirts versus Cockfield United, Elmswell versus Stonham Aspel, Melton versus Saxmundham, Thurston versus Ipswich Athletic, and Ufford versus Wolverstone. That bottom fixture looks so good. Looks so good. That's the standout, right?
Yeah, I looked at that one the other day and thought I'd quite fancy going to that one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's a very local derby. For Melton on there. Spencer saying Crane have a friendly tomorrow night against Hadley should be a decent watch. So if anybody wants to go to a game, there you go. That's a potential option for you. Ufford, I get, that for me is a standout one. Ufford at home on that pitch. Says Shem on there. There's some good fixtures in there. Do you know Melton versus Saxmundham again on paper looks a very good game. Elmswell will again be seeing this as an ideal opportunity to start again, get another 3 points on the board. AFC Yorkshire versus Cockfield again looks like a decent game. There's some good matchups here in Div 2. It's a very, very interesting league and one I can't wait to see play out through December, and we'll kind of see where we lie come the new year. Div 3 results and then the league table, and then we're going to round up today's show. Is Brunford 2, Bardwell 1 in the top of the table clash. Sees Brunford getting a 2-1 win, but not as easy in terms of as result-wise as it was at the beginning of the season. Great Blakenham 5, Aldborough 2, Kesgrave 5, Hope Church 1, Laxfield 2, Ockle 4, Stage 2, Wanderers 2, Unity 1, Witnesham Wasps 1. So Witnesham are going to be gutted. I think they said over on Twitter as well how disappointed they were to, in their words, drop points. And Wortham 5, Ipswich 2. Adam, what's your standout fixture? For me, I just want to give a shout out to Great Blakenham. I think that it's been a bit inconsistent this season.
It has.
And I think they've openly admitted it on Twitter as well. I think they were absolutely buzzing this weekend to get that victory, and it kind of just gives them a bit of a boost and a bit of a morale kick that they need to really get their season going again. For me, that's the I know you can look at the top of the table clash and say, well, that was clearly the standout, but for me, that's worth a shout out.
Yeah. No, massively agree. If I'm honest, obviously several games in there brought several goals with them as well. Kesgrave and Wortham definitely need a shout out for banging 5, and there's strikers throughout the league. There's no clean sheets in there, so a good weekend of fixtures for Div 3. So that's something to take away. But I absolutely echo your sentiment from what you've said about Great Blakenham, and see how that goes going forward.
Definitely. Here is the league table then. We've got Brunford still 100% record at the top of the table, obviously beating Bardwell at the weekend. Witnesham Wasps are on level on points with Bardwell, and again, you can see, again, it's a good start to the season, but for them, a draw is not enough to keep up with Brunford, and I think that's where their frustrations lie. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's where they do lie. Kesgrave are keeping the pressure on the top 3 though by getting their victory. Got Wanderers just not far behind in 5th place as well, and then a whole host of teams chasing the round as well. And again, look at Great Blakenham and their result pushes them up to 8th. It just relieves a little bit of pressure, and just as I said, makes a massive amount of difference. Massive difference. And hopefully at some point this weekend or some point over the next few weeks, we can see Aldborough getting their first win as well. From a Div 3 perspective, there are no divisional matches this weekend. There are a load of cup competitions. I
bet you're really pleased about that, aren't you, James?
Well, it was one less graphic to make. Let's just put it that way. There were so many fixtures on there, I could not put all of them on there.
So this weekend, there's just teams playing, basically.
Yeah. So Willsborough, Bardwell nearly snatched a draw at the end, which from a league perspective would have been amazing if we could have kept. Do you know what I mean? Let's not have Brunford winning 100% of their games, because from a neutral perspective, I wanted to be as close as possible for as long as possible. Yeah. If Stage won their drawn games, they would be up there as well. Yeah. 4 draws already at this point of the season after 8 games. That's a lot.
Pretty unusual, isn't it?
Yeah. That reminds me of my Crystal Palace form on Football Manager, actually. My start to the season looks very much like that. But that's a story for another day.
Of Crystal Palace.
Yeah. It's a good challenge. I want to be the top North London, top club in London with Crystal Palace. It's a challenge.
Challenge is not to bore yourself to sleep before you have to save the game.
Kenny Kennedy says on there, Brentford will not lose a game this season. Title wrapped up by the end of March.
Well, this rate, by the end of March, we'll only have played 12 games.
Very, very good point.
Sure,
very, very good point. Adam, it's been a really, really good show tonight. I've really enjoyed it. We've had the opportunity tonight to talk in depth about the fixture situation. We've had a chance to promote a few good causes as well in our chat. We've obviously gone through the Super Six, and if you guys want to get involved with that, we'll post out links throughout the week just to let you guys know about the Super Sixes and as a reminder. And it's just been good to talk about fixtures for a change. It's just been nice to go through some results and talk about football and what's going on the pitch rather than what's going on outside it. So we really, really appreciate everybody who's got involved tonight. Again, comment section has been absolutely superb. You guys have smashed it once again. We really, really do appreciate everything that you're doing for us. Again, if you want to help support the channel, the links for Patreon and for Ko-fi are available in the description of this video. If you want to take that support as well, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, give it a share. If you're on Twitter, retweet the video of today's live show. And again, if you are one of those people who can't watch the show back and you want to listen to it, as Adam mentioned earlier on in the show, we are available on all podcasting platforms. Just type in Suffolk Non-League Show and you'll be able to find us on there. Adam, how do you want to round up the show? Any words for our wonderful audience?
Yeah, quick thank you to everyone that liked the video when I asked it. We got 20 likes just off me asking for the video just to be liked, so that will make a difference.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate that.
Goal of the month will run through December, so if you've got videos of any goals you've been out and about and seen, they've been filmed, get in contact with Alex, who's running the Instagram, and he's doing the videos for that bit.
Good shout.
So get involved with him. It's AlexM1984 on Twitter. Other than that, it's been good to be back. It's been good to be at football, and I just want to say thank you for what has no doubt been our most outstanding week in non-league football since we started. It's been an absolute belter, and your support and the numbers that we're doing continue to absolutely blow us away. We've managed to sort a few new things out this week. You've seen our sort of announcement that we're partnering up with Clubber Creative as well, and we've got that. We're making moves now where we can sort of launch competitions that not only suit the community but suit the clubs as well, and hopefully we can let one of our clubs win an absolutely amazing prize that's being offered by them. So much good stuff has happened in the last week. It's going to be really hard to top it, but hopefully we can just keep on moving forward and keep going. I just thank you all for being part of it.
Yeah, definitely 100% back those words up. Alex, top show again, lads. Coffee is on you tomorrow. I appreciate that. You're not going to be there, are you, Adam?
Nope, not tomorrow night. Family thing.
Disgraceful.
Going out to look at some more Christmas lights. So, as you told me the other day, I was in the Night Garden or wherever it is. Amazing place. Went to Firstford in Norfolk. Very, very good.
Have they? Are they sponsoring the show?
No, but I don't mind telling people where's a good place to go.
Unless they're sponsoring. There you go. I'm only joking. Dan Barnard, cheers, lads. Great show again. Keep up the good work. It's been a crazy week for you. It really, really has. It's been absolutely mental. Shem, rather. Cheers, gents, and Irvin. Cheers, guys. Again, massive thank you. We are going to have one or two kind of side videos that we're going to be bringing out throughout December as well. So kind of keep your eyes peeled. More towards the Christmas and New Year time, we're going to be doing something where it's just kind of like a bit of a sit-down chat between myself and Adam, but we will bring you more news about that as we get closer towards the year wrapping up, because it's been a crazy year for everyone. So we've got a few ideas that we're going to be trying to bring out. They might not be live, but hopefully you guys will enjoy them still. But now the football's back, plenty of content still to come on the channel. We're going to be doing this every single Monday night. Again, doesn't matter if there's football or football is either here or not. We'll be here. We haven't backed down. We haven't quit. We're still here, and we're going to keep going throughout the season. And now the football is back, more matchday experiences, more interviews, more ground hopping is going to be on the channel. So make sure you subscribe to that. But thank you very much to everyone who's got involved in the chat tonight. We're going to wrap things up there. I'll see you guys who are at the Debenham match tomorrow evening. If you want to come over and say hello, feel free to do so, because seeing as this man's not going to be here, I've got to be on my own. So come over and say hello. But until next time, as always on the channel, until we see each other next time, adios, everyone.